Hey everyone, welcome back to the workshop. It is technically springtime, although up here in Minnesota that can mean anywhere from 30-degree days in snow to 60-degree days in rain or occasionally some sun. But I'm out in the workshop and wanted to play around with my take on a springtime Easter basket. We've got Easter coming up in about a month as well. So I thought we'd play around with the design, and it gives us a chance to use some more of this material from True Flat. So I've got three different colors here. We've got an oak, a maple, and kind of their linen colors. I thought they would be kind of nice for making up these baskets. They're gonna be about 6 inches by 4 inches and about 3.5 inch deep or so with a handle on it. We'll see, maybe we'll dress them up with some engravings and such. I'm also gonna be running a new laser. This is the Atomstack Kraft. It is a 20-watt diode with a 1.2 watt IR in the module. We're of course going to be using the 20-watt blue diode for this. And so this is going to be part of my testing of this new laser in the shop. So I'll have more of a full review on that down the road, but thought I'd use it for this project today. So if you're interested in these baskets, want to find out more, stay tuned. We're going to jump right into it. Just taking a look here in SketchUp at the design. I like using this for 3D modeling. It gives you a good visual reference of what everything's going to look like. So I'm using 3mm material. 1/8 inch would work as well, but you would have to resize these appropriately. Might be able to do that with the light burn tool, but because we've got these curved edges and things, that might not do it quite right, because if you use thicker material, this part would actually have to come out instead of that going deeper. But anyway, it's basically about 4 inches by 6 inches for the base and a little under 4 inches tall. Pretty simple construction, just some slot and tabs for the sides. So you would put the handle and the base into one side, glue it in, put the other side on, and then just kind of pop these rails on like so. And just some minimal glue. If you have the kerf just right, it'll kind of friction hold together, but you definitely want some glue holding all those joints. So real quickly, just show you the layout here. Very simple with these parts, and I have it fitting into about a 12-inch tall by 14-inch wide piece of material. So pretty simple to use on most lasers. Even most diodes would be able to cut this out. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to squeeze it into 12 by 12. And keep this size. You could shrink it down a little bit, maybe get to that. But one little tip that I like to do is I actually stack these parts where they have this kind of nice straight edge. That will cut down on your laser time. Instead of having these spaced out, it eliminates some material waste, and instead of this line being cut twice for each part, it's cut once, cuts them in half. So just a little tip, anytime you can do that, it will work out well. And we would be able to drop in engravings. You could put some on the side. You can maybe put something on the handle or on some of these. Just kind of up to you how you want to personalize that. So looking at light burn here, as I mentioned, this is set up for just a 20 Pro, your typical 400 by 400 millimeter laser. I'm going to be using the Atomstack Kraft. That's a 20-watt laser. It does have a wider bed than this, but we'll get this loaded up out in the shop. But with that one, I'll probably be running, my material at about 375 to 400 millimeters a minute. And then also what you might want to play with is, if you come into your properties here, you may want to adjust your kerf offset. So we're actually in inches now. Let's change this over to metric, as most people are using that. So your kerf offset, depending on your laser, a lot of diodes start around 0.08 for your offset. Might be a little bit less on a lower powered laser, might be a little bit more on a CO2, but I've got a video on kerf test if you're not familiar with that, but just something to check out. And yeah, we'll get some of these cut out and see how it works. So let's hop out into the shop. All right, so I went ahead and ran a material test on this. It's a new laser and a new material that, either way, with new laser, new material, always want to run one of these. And I did have to just kind of lightly press those top ones out. So it was kind of getting through at 450 millimeters a minute and 90 to 100% power, but we're going to back that off to 400 millimeters a minute. And we'll be running this probably at 100% power. That should ensure that we get through this material. True flat material is very consistent. It has a thin veneer top and bottom that's pre-finished, so it's easy cleanup. And then it has kind of just a very consistent MDF, almost a light MDF core to it. So you shouldn't have any surprises in here. So I'm hoping that running it at those speeds should cut out just fine. So let's drop a sheet in and run our first test.
So as I mentioned, we're using the new Atomstack Kraft. This is a 20-watt diode laser with a 1.2-watt IR in the same module. I'm going to go ahead and use the framing function just to get my material lined up. The Kraft does have a working area of about 12.6 inches deep by 19.6 inches wide, so plenty of room to work in there, and it does include that honeycomb panel even with the basic setup. And it is making good work cutting through this material. This does also have a nice fully enclosed design. As you see here, it's got some nice LED lighting on the sides, and we have a 3-inch exhaust vent on the side. So just kind of assembling the little prototype here, and we'll check its fit in a minute.
All right, so the first iteration went pretty well. Everything lined up as I expected. My kerf was probably a little tight, and so I might need to adjust that. But the true flat plywood worked very well, and the nice thing is you can kind of wipe off with just a little like IPA alcohol anywhere there's any bit of like vaporization or the flashback, so it stays fairly clean. I'm gonna go ahead and cut a couple more of these. I might actually try to engrave some things maybe on one of the bars or on the panels, and or we could even like maybe glue something on here. So we're gonna try to spice a couple of these up. We're gonna try a couple of different colors and take a look at them when we're all done. All right, I've already cleaned up that set, but we got just a little bit of cleanup on these. So you see there's just a little bit of vaporization there, some spots from the cuts, and then a little bit of flashback from the honeycomb. So we are going to take just a simple microfiber cloth and some isopropyl alcohol, and we're gonna wipe these down, kind of clean those spots up. So just gonna get a little alcohol on this rag. And I'll try to show you. So this one's pretty, you got a lot of flashback on there. There you go. Looking pretty good. So I'm gonna go through and clean up all these parts, and then we'll get to gluing them together. All right, now we just need to clean up just a little bit of this vaporization on here. So I'm gonna take a clean spot of the rag, a little fresh alcohol on here, and then we'll just wipe it down really quick. And you can see that makes it look much better, nice and clean. Same thing over here. Nice, crisp and clean. All right, let's get ready to glue these together. All right, for the glue up, tools of the trade, I'm using some CA glue. This is just kind of makes it fast. You could use wood glue. Depending on your kerf, you may need to use some clamps or something to hold it together. But hopefully we got the kerf dialed in on these, and that'll be good. We won't need to use clamps. With that, do have a paper towel handy just for any squeeze out. We don't want to leave that sticking out. It's going to kind of ruin the look a little bit. So just a quick one of those to pick up any of the CA that squeezes out. Accelerator helps it set faster. And I've got a mallet, a little bit of a persuasion tool just in case some of our kerfs are a little tight. We can kind of use that to tap it in. So pretty simple with these. We are going to start with one side. We're going to start probably with the base, and we will get some glue on the edges, get them in the slots, and go from there. So it's a little bit on these ends. You can put some on there as well in the tabs, but it might seep out a bit. And then here we're gonna, yeah, that's a snug kerf, possibly just on the edge of being too tight, but that is pretty good. Holding that in firm. So once again, paper towel, I'm just gonna tear off a little bit, and I'm going to try to grab any of the squeeze out here just to keep it clean. You can do it on both sides if you want. Then we got to put the top handle in on the 1/2. Kind of the same thing, just get a little glue on our mating pieces here. That one fit a little bit better. Again, we're just going for snug to hold in place, but not too tight. You don't want to mash them together. Clean up our glue, squeeze out on these edges. You know, it's good CA when it cures really fast on your fingers. Oh, just a little bit there. And that's one of the nice things about this pre-finished stuff. The CA is gonna wipe off a little bit. Most of your glue is gonna wipe off pretty quick without soaking in and damaging the wood. All right, so we've got that side now. We have to get both sides of this part. So we gotta apply glue to both edges. There. Flip that over. Try to get everything lined up quickly. This is where having the mallet of persuasion can help. Just lightly tap on that. There we go. That's just usually a sign your kerf is a little too tight, so I might need to go back in and adjust that in the file. And that's going to be slightly different for every laser, so do a material test, do a kerf test, so you get that slot just right. So again, I'm just going to clean up any of these seams, make sure there's not gobs of glue leaking out. And since that's all pretty tight, I don't feel like I need to use the accelerator on that, but we may need it on these side pieces. So once again, these are going to lock into these tabs, and hopefully the kerf, you kind of hear that snapping in. It's just tight enough that it should hold pretty well. Kind of wishing I would have put some glue on that one first, because that is pretty snug. So I'm gonna go through, put some glue on here, push all these in, and we'll take a look. On this bottom one, this does sit down here, so you can put a little glue on here as well. Just not so much that it really squeezes out too much. And then there we go. Push that in, add a little bit on that end grain there. And we'll just move on up. I'm gonna flip these over and just hit it with a little accelerator from the inside. We'll let that cure.
So I've been using Starbond CA and accelerator, and that makes for a quick build, but it can be a fragile bond and the glue will cure pretty quickly. So you may want to use some wood glue just to give you better time and easier cleanup, but that is really up to you and what works best.
There we go, one completed basket.
So the true flat material comes in around $5 a sheet, plus or minus, depending on shipping. So it is a little bit more, but it does give a nice consistent look.
And so when thinking about pricing, you know, for the bare non-engraved one, I would probably be looking for about $15. But when we go ahead and add like a medallion like I'm doing here, or adding the custom engraving, I'd probably bump that up to around 20, maybe 25, just depending on the market. But be curious to find out what you all think about the pricing. All right, so I have the 3 completed baskets here, and they all came out fairly well. Really nice being able to personalize them. And the true flat material being pre-finished and having kind of the different wood grains as well as kind of the linen one give a nice selection of having that kind of finished look. You could obviously cut this out with some just standard 1/8 inch or 3mm material, but I feel you're gonna then also have to spend the time to finish it or paint it. And so using this material, even though it might be more expensive than the raw plywood, I think helps speed it up. It also gives you very consistent cut. The material on the inside is very quality engineered MDF that's laser friendly, and then the veneers engrave and cut very well. So looking at this, if I was to sell one of these, it used about 12 by 14 of those sheets, and the ones I have are 12 by 19. So you have a little bit left over, but you know, on a $5 sheet plus or minus some shipping, you're gonna have, you know, $5 to $6 of material into this. And then you've got some machine time, but it doesn't take too long to assemble. And the nice thing about this pre-finished material is it cleans up really quick, and there's no finishing aspect. Once you glue it together, it's basically done. So one of the reasons I think using the true flat material for projects like this are really nice. Consistency in cut as well as the quick finishing. So the Kraft laser did fairly well with this. It is a 20-watt laser. We cut most of these materials. I think ended up landing about 375 millimeters a minute and 100% power. The air assist on full and cut it out without any gaps or whatnot. I did adjust this one for a kerf of 0.65. 0.7 was just a little too wide, and that gave a nice snug fit on most of the parts, but not so much to where it was hard to push together. I'm going to make sure all of the files are kind of tweaked for those sizes and then available through my Etsy shop. If you're interested in these, you will want to play around with your material and your kerf size. You may need to make some adjustments to the slots and tabs using Lightburn. That's fairly easy with their slot and tab adjustment tool. But I'll have these available up on Etsy. And we will be continuing to do more with the Atomstack Kraft laser. This is just kind of my first test with it. Thought we'd do a project video with it. It is a nice laser. It's got both the 20-watt blue diode as well as a 1.2 IR built into the same module. You can just switch between those within Lightburn or the buttons on front. There's even a setting where you can fire them both together. Not 100% sure where that's going to be useful, but the fact that both of them are one module, you don't need to swap it out. Pretty cool. It's got some other cool safety features as such, but those will be coming later in a full review. So that's where we're going to wrap up this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you're interested in these files, I will have a link to them in my Etsy shop. And if you're wanting to cut some baskets out for yourself, that would be great way to support this channel and have those files readily available for you. And if you do that, hey, drop a note down below. Let me know what you think as far as pricing. What would you price these at in your market? What do you think they would go for? If you have any questions or comments about this laser, those baskets, or anything else that you have seen in my shop, go ahead and leave a comment down below. If you're new here, hey, consider subscribing. I do a lot of project videos like this. We do machine reviews like we'll be doing in the future with the Kraft, as well as I do a Sunday night live stream with my friend David over at the Clack Shack, where we answer your questions live for a couple hours, 7 p.m. Central every Sunday. We've been going for over a couple years on that and don't have any plans on stopping anytime soon. So a lot of ways to connect. I hope you've enjoyed it and I hope I've earned your subscription, your like, and maybe you want to share this video around and help that channel out. I'll have links down below to all the materials and the machines and everything. Some of those are affiliate links. I appreciate you using those. It goes to help support me a bit at no additional cost to you, but as always, just happy to pass on the information to you. So once again, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, but most importantly, I hope you get out in your workshop and make something too. We'll catch you next time.